In this video, we talk with some real Alibaba.com users and explore some challenges and solutions for doing business with a supplier whose first language is not English.
The Chinese suppliers want to sell you stuff. American suppliers want to sell Chinese people stuff, but there's a language barrier, and if you can get over that language barrier, you can make business happen.
Culturally, we're very different. They're much more long-term oriented, I would say, where I think Americans in general tend to be pretty impatient. They wonder, okay, that's fine, you're placing an order with us, but when's your next reorder going to be? And kind of, shifting the mentality from New York City business student to long-term business partner.
Culturally, I think that's what I figured out is kind of dress them by their name, ask them, like their day, and just make it pretty formal and make sure you say, thank you and you appreciate their business, and I think doing that helps.
Always know your supplier. Be friends with them, understand what they're able to do, and feed back to them what can help them to give you better products, or more, in my case, more powerful products. Try to handhold. Also understand that there's a language barrier, and not everybody speaks, American English. Hell, the English don't speak American English.
Most of the sales representative that represented the company listed on Alibaba speak English. And I know there's an online chat version, so I use that pretty often when I have quick questions. Instead of sending them emails back and forth, I use that as a tool. I locate my manufacturer and I chat with them. Another thing too is when I was initially looking for manufacturers on Alibaba, you have pretty much like the inbox messaging center, so you can pretty much see all the messages you have sent out to targeted suppliers. And it's all browser-based, so it's kind of easy, very simple to use, I would say.
I think maybe the most difficult thing about working with someone halfway around or around the world is the time difference. I mean, but generally speaking, what I've found is everybody that we've reached out to on Alibaba without fail has responded to us within 48 hours. Even though there is a time lag, I think when they get messages or emails from somebody that's inquiring about their products, we've never experienced a lag. So there is a sense of urgency in getting back to us, which I think is great. And we don't experience that on other sites, by the way.
If you utilize ambiguous language in your emails, you're going to have problems. And if you utilize numbers, some people write the number 2 as TO, TWO, TOO. Little things like that you have to be cognizant of. Stay away from ambiguity and you'll do fine. Also, try to be curt. Curt means short, very short sentences that describe exactly data that you want and when you'd like the data.
So even though the individuals and the representatives speak English, the vocabulary or even the time that they get to understand, especially when you get very technical, can take a long time. I was in Hangzhou for about 7 days, and then I scheduled about 10 meetings, but I could only make 6 or 7 because sometimes some meetings would last all day long, describing, visiting the supply chain, and only because of the language barrier. So I wish I had a translator. Would have made it much more easier, who I could say is part of my company and we are in the same interest. So I can understand what's going on. My translator and I could discuss what I want exactly, and they could communicate directly to the executive instead of having to go through the sales representative. And if I could learn Mandarin as well, that would be awesome. That's pretty much it.
I found it pretty easy talking to people via Alibaba.com. Occasionally you can have issues with language barriers and things like that. I've found that the easiest way to try and combat that is to provide pictures or diagrams of what you're after. That kind of helps the resource to understand exactly what you're after. It's really difficult with anyone to actually be able to describe something unless they can see it visually. The other thing I would do is obviously try and be as specific as possible, be as descriptive as possible, but do it in simple language so you're not making it harder for anybody. That's actually quite difficult to do because I think as a business person, you're always sort of encouraged to be really professional and flowery, and I just don't think that works when you're dealing with people who are just trying to understand exactly what you want and get it to you as quickly as possible.
Yeah, they're very hospitable people. They get it. One thing is that in these factories, I'm sure millions of people contact them throughout the year for inquiries, quotations, how the supply chain works. So they have literature, or even the representatives are very well trained in it. They understand. Usually on a business trip, you have very little time, and they're very efficient in showing you the entire facility and giving you the information that they want. So that expertise, even though there's a language barrier, one thing that's very comforting is that the guys in the factory get it. They've done this several times in and out. They know exactly why you are there for, and they want to make this work.
Me, I'm going to be selling my Sea Rebel, hopefully, to China. I hope 10 years from now there's 100 million surfers out there. There could be, it's possible.
Hey, I taught English as a foreign language for 2 years, so, we figure out a way to communicate.
Trading secrets, communication, and language barriers. Choose the most simple, descriptive, and direct language in all communications. This can ensure the message is received and decrease the time it takes to communicate your idea. Showing consideration and respect can go a long way in keeping communication at its highest level. The Alibaba.com chat feature and messaging center are great for day-to-day communication with your supplier. Be confident that your supplier wants to understand and fulfill your needs and become a long-term business partner. A supplier's grasp on the English language is not a reflection of their competency. They're running a legitimate business and have most likely been through this production process many times before.